introduction and welcome everybody. This is PnP Weekly episode 223. It is 23rd of October. That's actually pretty sweet. 23,
Yes, 23,
Yes.
10, 23.
Yes, exactly. And in the PnP Weekly, I always talk about the latest Microsoft 365, and we typically have a visitor. Today, our visitor will be Luise Freese. She's joining us. I think again, she's been a few times in the show, but it's been a while since we have her. Last time, so we're going to talk about a bit about Power Platform, a bit about community, a bit about open source, all of that stuff. And then we will go through the weekly articles, like typically. So what has the community and Microsoft shared within the past, actually 2 weeks, because we had a special episode last time. Right, Waldek?
Correct.
Now, my name is Vesa Juvonen. I'm a principal product manager in Microsoft 365 platform areas, and with me as a co-host.
We haven't done that in a while, intro
No, we haven't.
ourselves. So you're keeping me very much on my toes. Hi, everybody. My name is Waldek Mastykarz, and I'm cloud developer advocate for Microsoft 365 at Microsoft.
Yeah, you, by the way, recently got promoted as well, so thank you. Congratulations on that.
I have been, correct.
Yes,
correct. Thank you.
Cool. Anyway, let's jump on the interview with Luise, and then we'll go through the articles right after that. Beautiful moving mug, by the way. Beautiful moving mugs. Beautiful moving mugs. Cool. Excellent. So thank you, Luise, for joining us on the PnP Weekly. We will actually give you a bit more space because you're no, not that one. Which one is it? It's this one. No.
Yay.
That one.
The master of
technology.
scenes.
Yes. Cool. Some of these days I will learn how to do this. Or maybe not. It's fine. Cool. My dog is watching me in a weird way. I hope. Anyway, that's a separate discussion. Now, Luise, thank you for joining. Let's first of all start with the important things. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Luise. Waldek.
Happy birthday to you.
So you're turning now 24 then?
Yes, basically, yes.
Yes, good. So congratulations, really cool.
Thank you.
It's unavoidable, I guess, that we are,
Inevitable?
have as English,
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can't pronounce this. Just like
Inevitable?
Inevitable.
Squirrel. that is supposed to be the word that trips up Germans
Scroll.
like crazy.
Scroll.
Squirrel.
that hides the nuts, that.
Alvin and Chipmunks? No.
Okay, so
So-
we're having much fun here.
Are we going to talk anything smart on this interview? No, I guess not. So no. Well, you'll be drinking, we'll be watching. This is actually pretty okay. So.
I could get used to that.
Well, that is pretty boring for our non-visual audience. So
That's true.
maybe
For the
let's not. Maybe
podcast,
let's
that would be
make some ambient noises around it.
So we need to make this more accessible. Audio description, Luise is getting tipsy.
yes.
Yes.
Family show though.
Yes. Now let's you've actually been on a show before, but it's been actually a pretty long time from that. Can you do a quick recap, Luise, of who are you and what do you do for a living?
Quick recap. So, hi, my name is Luise. I'm an independent M365 and Power Platform consultant based in Germany. I live in Düsseldorf. I'm sitting here in my home office, and I call this my nerd credibility shelf because this place is like all the nerdy and Lego-y stuff that I love. Today is my birthday, and yesterday I made myself a very, very special present because I ran my very first half marathon race, and I survived it. And this is pretty
How
cool.
did it go?
It was tough. So there were phases that were just like really easy and nice, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I feel good. And then there were times where like, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is bad. And that pretty much reminded me of my just life as a developer, because that metronome that's just like ticking very, very fast between, oh, I'm so good, and wow,
I've got this. I suck at this.
Yeah.
I've got this. I will never be able to do it.
Yeah. So running and being a developer, there's just like a lot of similarities. Let's say it like that.
Sure.
How do you prep for that big of a run? Like you don't get
That's 22 kilometers, 15 miles.
Wake up and run. I mean,
Well,
I don't.
So usually as a responsible runner, you should train for that, just like with having in mind when you would have that race, and then just like build up everything. And usually my distance of where I feel good is just like more like 10K. And occasionally I do a longer run at the weekends, which might be just like up to 15K, but I signed up spontaneously, super last minute for this run, just like literally the day before yesterday. And then just like did it.
I mean, if you run already 10 and 15K, how much of a difference is there to do the 20, what is it, 21, 22?
22, yeah.
It's 21. It's 21. Yeah. And it is a difference.
Okay.
It is somehow the difference between creating a sample and creating a production ready app.
It's just a sample that is being actually used, right?
Yeah.
It's more polished. Yes.
Just to create something that demos nicely, that is a 5K park run. That is just like super easy, and you can just like knock it off, and it looks easy, and everyone can do that, and there's just like super easy steps, and the devil is really in the details. And yeah.
So if I can run until the end of the street, like that is not even a sample, right? Like that code doesn't work. It works, kind of. It compiles. That's about it.
that is your storage VS Code. So depending on the street that you live in, I don't know.
There you go. There is one sentence summary of my skills.
I mean, we all need to start somewhere.
Totally.
But I guess coming back on the actual running thing, so I do skating obviously on long distance inline skating, which apparently is a weird thing. People don't quite understand that somebody does that as a hobby. But at least for me, like the 15 kilometer, if you go like a marathon, the worst moment is roughly in 15 kilometers, because that's the moment when your brain and the body start telling you, no, this is too much, you cannot do that. And then all of a sudden you get past that, and then it's completely fine for the next 15 to 20 kilometers. And then, you know, the last 5 kilometers is basically your body, your mental mindset is that, yeah, you're pretty soon in the, you know, you've done this completely. So then it starts wearing you down. But it's interesting. The first 15 kilometers is there's this moment of a time, and I guess that's in running as well, when your body tells you that, no, and brain is telling you, no, you can't do that.
You still aren't too far away to
turn back.
Go back.
I
you
guess
could be home in a few minutes
as well. But
and
it's also
like, oh, damn it.
You feel incredibly more tired, and then you get past that, and you're like, no, you're failing. Your mind, you go past that mind block, and then all of a sudden, dun 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 dun, and then it starts going again. It's interesting.
So endurance sports. So I don't skate, but endurance sports is just like, so it's more an exercise for the mind than it is for the body, at least from me. So of course this is just like exhausting to my body, so of course, but it is more about just like telling yourself, no, you will not listen to that tiny voice that tells you you can't do this, or you never did that, or you shouldn't be doing this, or you're too old, or too Sunday, or to whatever to achieve that. But just like, just because it's hard, you will not stop. You will just not stop. It's hard.
That is so, you know, typical for you as a person, because if I look at you over the last few years, I don't think that there's something you haven't touched. You learned Azure Functions, you learned coding, you learned Node, you learned Power Apps, you learned.
Did I
something that you haven't done?
Did I tell you that I since a year I'm learning C#?
Well, I mean,
Good.
once you know
Good
JavaScript
example.
and TypeScript, like C# is just like
yeah.
language. Like,
It's actually talked a lot about that, but just like, so I have a project, and we had a C# developer in the project, and unfortunately he burned out. And
that's right here.
inherited just like lots of Dataverse plugins from him, and they're written in C#. So, and as there are just like no hireable C# developers right now for some reason, I don't know why.
Wow.
I like catch up very, very quickly with that, and yeah.
But again, like, is there like, there is nothing you haven't done? So how does one become fearless in a sense of trying new things?
Yep, that's a good question.
I think I'm socialized just like PP long stockings. And she said, I never did this before, so I'm pretty sure this will go well. Or something
Yep.
along these lines. So it needs to be successful. So, and I just think that if you never try, the answer is always no.
Right.
And it cannot, it can only get better if you try to do something. Not saying that I succeed in everything, but I get a fair understanding of a lot of things, and that of course helps me along the way. And I'm easily bored, so I like to expose myself to new things, and I think this is super common for people working in tech. We are all bored super easily, and then we just like want to do the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And learning is like a muscle, so the more you do learn, the easier it is to learn. So if you learn 2 new skills at the very same time, that means due to how your brain works and how it is wired, that you learn both things better than if you did that one after the other. So if you learn,
But then there's also this other thing, right? That as you learn things, you're getting the mastery, like, and that kind of gives you ego boost, like I know things. But that also comes with the caveat that ego, I'm afraid to fail because I am now being seen as, the expert, the master. If I now fail, or if I do something totally rubbish, that's going to reflect bad on me, which creates ego, which creates inertia to try new things because, oh my God, I'm going to fail. How do you deal with that? How do you ever get that, or aren't you wired just in that way? Like, don't have that.
Oh, well, I guess that I care about people. Don't get me wrong, but I don't care about what people's opinion is about me.
Right.
So if someone thinks Luise is good at, or Luise sucks at X, Y, Z, well, so it be. So of course, if that is a customer, that could create a problem. But yeah, so but
Is that something the mindset of not caring about somebody's opinion? Is that something you always had, or is it something you developed over the course of years?
Well, let's say it's just like it improved over time, of course. So at home, I'm still punk rock girl. So I never cared too much about what people think about me. But of course, I'm not affected by this at all. So there is always just like a certain element of, ooh, what might they think? But I just like try to keep that feeling at distance. And I don't tell everyone, hey, I'm the best in XYZ. No, I tell, hey, I make efforts to, or I learn something, or I'm interested in, or I'm making progress. And progress is the goal. It is not perfection, because perfection, and we know that's the enemy of done, and it's just unreachable, and it makes you feel bad. I only compare myself to, I don't know, a week ago, or a month ago, or a year ago, or 5 years ago. And when I look at myself, just like, well, 5 years ago, whoa. I'm now really just like in a different place, not only professionally but also mentally, and just like everything. And then that's good.
Improving yourself one step at a time. But it's one of those classical things. I hate going into conferences. I skip any presentation which says best practices of blah blah, told you by blah blah, which is like, how would you know what is the best practice? Best practice is highly subjective in any single scale, topic. It's like, what is the best practice? Good practices, yes, absolutely.
Well, the best practice to fly is not to fall. So I would say
there's
that is
some generalizations. Yeah, I get that. But it's the way of coming back on what Luise was saying, related on not claiming to be the expert on something. It's a state of mind as well. It's a good way of kind of not being, I will define you the best of whatever, as an example.
Well, but that is,
not climb mountain stupid,
Well, but that is, I get that, but on the other hand, I think that requires some mindset, right? Because on the other hand, we all crave to be recognized in a way, and attaining the mastery in something is a way to do that, like to be recognized. Oh my God, like that person is achieved XYZ, right? So if you if that is your way to be recognized, well, then you are in for a hard game. True. Because you will hit that inertia, right? So you will need to find basically a different way. You will need to rewire yourself to be recognized or to get recognized in a different way, like be recognized for the effort and not really the result.
Well, of course, I like recognition. I like appreciation. So I'm not immune to that at all. But I like to be recognized as a learn-it-all, as someone who likes to improve themselves. And so this is what I like to be recognized. And it's not about I need to be the best developer in the world. No, but I'm making efforts just like to learn a lot of things, even if that is, I don't know, if I started late with that, or if I'm just like have a different background or something like that. So
I guess that comes
even there, like what does the best dev mean? Who defines that? Is that the person
exactly? Well, that's highly
who
subjective.
can write the most elaborate loop, or who can think
but again,
for themselves, right?
wouldn't it be fair to say that also this kind of a mindset comes partly because of an experience, because you understand that it's not about, the world is much bigger than you initially thought, and there's a much more broader set of skills and people, and it's much better to work together with the people than trying to put yourself in the podium and be like, I'm the best of work, because it's like, no, really.
Not really my thing. So I guess like every person I meet can teach me something that I don't know. And this is just like exactly how I walk through the world. So I'm just like curious about people. So yes, of course, I'm an introvert, so people can be a lot for me as well. But usually I meet people and they teach me something, even without knowing that I did not know about. That may be a skill, that may be an attitude, that may be how they see the world. And I would just like walk away from that encounter, just like feel richer on the inside than before. And I try to do the very same with people that meet me, so that they just like have a better feeling after meeting me than before. And that is not something that, okay, so now I need to tick the box. So what did I teach this person? So it just like comes more naturally, but I just try to be kind. And I feel like this reflects then the kindness that people show me. And this is why I do not need to have this recognition on this. Yeah, Luise is the best in X, Y, Z, or provides a session with best practices in X, Y, Z.
But you are.
So maybe let's put it that way, right? So let's say somebody kind of came to the point where they realize, shucks, I am not that. I am like slave to my ego. How could they break those chains? How could they reinvent themselves? Like, where would they start?
I think it starts with just like first acknowledging that you're kind of bound to this external validation, because though that is usually, it is not ego, which sounds like this is something that comes from the inside, but mostly it's people who really depend on external validation, that someone else tells them, yeah, you did great. And my self-worth can't depend and can't rely on that someone else tells me I did great. So of course I have my standards and I have values that I live by as a human being, and I need to adhere to those to be just like to feel good. But I can't put it just like in other people's hands to feel good about myself. So it's first acknowledgement that we all rely on a lot of external validation. I do, of course, as well, but I just like try to keep that at distance. Just like who liked my post, or who retweeted that, or who smiled at me, or who recognized me at a conference, or how many people asked me about topic XYZ. So it could be professionally something like that, could be more personal as well, but just like we all rely on that. And just like seeing that your happiness and your how you feel about yourself, that this comes more from the inside, that would be just like the second step down. Yep.
Now, we went already to the philosophical part pretty fast. Yeah. This was wow. We went deep in the human mind. And how do you get to be Luisa's position? So if there would be somebody who's watching and you from afar and being like, oh my God, you have 40,000-50,000 billion followers in social media. You do
At
so
least.
many stuff. You do presentations, you do samples, you do all of that stuff. What would be your like top 3, 5, recommendations? How do you get to do what you do?
Well, do the thing, tell people about it. So it's a very, very simple two-step process. Just like do whatever interests you. So if this is just somehow a hot topic, like now AI is super hot topic and everyone jumps on that, cool. If that is what was generally interesting to you, then yes. If you find something else that interests you, then do the thing. So build something or blog it or whatever, just like do meaningful stuff. And then tell as many people as possible about this. And this could be that you blog about it. It could be that you post about it on LinkedIn. It could be that you do a session or that you mentor people or that you create workshops or whatever that is, or whatever or record a video, podcast, or do something to let people know that you did that thing in the very first place. And
but it's so hard. But it's so hard to get out there.
Over and over and over and over again. So just like consistency is really key.
Repeat.
Yeah,
and consistency.
But still, it's so hard to get it out there and work in the open and say something in the open. How would people start? Because again, like the moment you start talking stuff, like there will undoubtedly be people saying you got it wrong. This isn't true. Who are you to say that? How would people start on that?
Well, I started in open source, just like correcting typos and the docs. And then I co-authored an article, and then I wrote an article, and then I created samples, and then I blogged about the samples, and then I presented the samples. And so you can just like grow over time, or just like, so if everyone is out there just like saying, oh my God, I can't do this, and I'm not good enough, or I have no clue what I'm doing, just like, hey, hit me up, I will help.
Yeah, and we do have programs for that, like Sharing is Caring initiative, as an example, which is targeting that particular thing. Because again, you that's actually a good storyline on starting by fixing a typo, then you get approved your PR, you feel good about it, you do a bit more, because that grows your growth and learnings and skill sets, and you feel more empowered and you are more willing to contribute as well.
So, we just said that you should feel about yourself always, all the time, right?
I'm wrong most times. So I'm so yes, I'm an expert, just like in a very, 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 very small niche, because otherwise I wouldn't be an expert. That means that about most stuff in the world I have no clue about, or only just like a very shallow idea how things work. And then I'm just like super happy if someone lends me their knowledge, so I can just like see the world through their eyes. And Sharing is Caring is an amazing initiative. It got me into open source and it got me into contributing. So I'm a proud alumna of the David and Hugo University. Sharing is Caring. I mean, I need to blame them that I do what I do for a very, very good part.
Yeah.
And open source is a true career booster, for real.
That was the next question. Why would you do open source? What is this open source thing again? Why? You're a consultant. You're making money with your skills. It's your precious. It's your skills. Why are you sharing all of that away for free? That's crazy.
So the thing is, of course, for everything that I do open source, and that is a lot, there is no direct money that I get for that. That's true. And yes, I give away my skills and my knowledge. And at the very same time, I need to make sure that I attract the right clients for my business, which means that people who align with my ideas, people who have similar mindset and just like projects that fit my skill set, correct? And that is like all in all super important. So if I blog and if I do open source work, then this means that potential customers see how I work. And only those where all these things match, they will feel attracted to how I work. And then they would just like call me or just like send an email, just like, hey, are you open for contract work? And then we'll say, yeah, well, that depends. Because I need to like them as well. So this is how it usually works. So it just like means
But so you are an expert and you are showing your expertise.
yes.
After all.
That's correct. So which means that usually if you hire a consultant or you hire a developer, that you usually you get a black box because you don't exactly know what you're buying.
Yep.
And as I work a lot in the open, people exactly know what they get.
Yeah.
And you as a company just like prefer, I don't know, some very traditional model, and maybe you will be better served with the PwC consultant, and that will just like better fit your needs, because my ideas are just like more radical than most consultants' ideas. And that means so because I really want to dig to the root of all the problems that a customer faces. So I want to just like cover things up and make them
The
pretty.
hard truth.
Yes, the hard truth.
Can you handle the truth?
Candor.
Can you handle the truth?
And this, of course,
You
is
can handle the
reflected in my personality, and it reflects just like in all the work that I do. And that means that we have just like an incredible good cultural fit. If people find me, and people find me through socials, and people find me through my GitHub profile.
But something what you actually said there, that's actually a really good point as well. So if we think about how many developers and consultants there are within the world related on Power Platform or Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Cloud, there's quite a few of them. So the open source is a good way of differentiating, because this is me. Also, when you think about the market, how do you differentiate? How do you do marketing as a consultant for your skill sets? Well, again, open source conferences, all of that is technically a marketing channels and a sales channel for reaching for the audiences. And cool thing about doing things like open source and community is then you end up doing like podcast and like this one, you get that additional visibility and exposure for within the ecosystem, which is it certainly helps. So
basically the same way, when you're hiring a chef to cook for you, you want to sample their food. You want to know if you will like what they do, right? Like you will not just like, I'll hire him. I have no idea if they can cook, but I'll hire them. Like that doesn't make any sense, right?
And I also like the fact that, sorry, Luise, I know that you're about to say something, sorry, but I also like the fact that we're intentionally trying to be, at least personally, I intentionally share a bit more than about myself in social media and Twitter, because coming back on what you just said, you want to have so that the customers know who you are as a person also. So you find those customers who are willing to work with you. So it will not come as a surprise to them, like oh, your values are a bit different than I am, so we can't really work together. No. This is me. This is how I do stuff. And by the way, I'm willing to work with any people, but you will get me because you're sharing a bit more on the social media. So it's a brand building as well. So it's not just about and storytelling and personal brand building, which is important for sales and marketing. So
it also ensures that I can pick the projects that are interesting to me, and that I do not need to take on just like literally every job, regardless if it's interesting or if I like it or if I like the project. But leads pitch their projects to me, and then I decide what I find interesting enough. And
but that also you could make an argument, right? That comes from position of privilege, because you are in a place where you get to choose, and not everybody is in that place. If you just start the career, you don't have a name yet, or you don't have the financial security.
Of course. So of course that is privilege, but so
you work for it.
Yes, you work for it.
You can put yourself into that position. So if you're someone who's just like starting out, do the thing, tell people about it. That builds your brand. And if you have a brand and reputation and then visibility and exposure and all of that, then you will attract the right people. And then if you do not like that project, they're just like still standing 10 in line who just like wait for you to jump on that. That is pretty privileged and very fortunate. I do not take this for granted, but I believe that this is how it should be, because there are just like so many amazing people out there with super unique skill sets, just like where just like all the different skills overlap just like in an amazing way that could just like add very unique value to other cool projects. So I guess that mostly people in tech are not that good in telling other people about it. So they are very good at doing the thing, but they maybe need a little bit more help in the telling people about it.
Let my
we are
sample
in
in a
marketing
GitHub.
after all.
Yes, well, we are. We 100% we are, because it's let the sample in my GitHub profile tell the story, and it's like, but how could anybody find that? We you know, it's
No,
we really need
build
to make
and
sure.
They will come.
Or classic story, we do a lot of planning together with Luise related on random community stuff, but classic story on the, for example, at some point there was more and more people, or there was more people in our community, closer community, who, for example, in their GitHub profile, it only had their first name, or they had a random, name without any references or anything like that. And then you're like, well, you're doing a brilliant job, but I don't know.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but how would you know who that person is? It's like, I want to recruit that person. I want to offer this person, hire the person.
Oh,
I don't know
900
who
Steve.
the person is.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Oh, 900 Steve.
But before we close today, homework for everyone. So everyone visit.
I was just about to say this as well. Thank you, Liz.
Visit your GitHub profile. Make sure it has your first name, space, and your last name. That would be super cool.
Yep.
Also, reference your socials. So if that is LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever the clown calls it today, so reference that as well, so that people can find you and just like hire you or offer you a demo spot.
Yes.
Or just like,
Yes.
Something like that. So that's
put a picture there, put there something personal also as a picture, not just leave it the blank. And again,
the nice avatar created by GitHub.
Yes. Now it might not be your face if you don't want to, but again, put something there, because again, it is GitHub is a very good example. It's your profile, it's your calling card if you're looking into additional work. And the same actually applies even in, I've seen Twitter, similar challenges as well, or X, like I said, what did you say? Whatever the clown calls that this week. I guess that was the term what you said. That is
what I said. That's what I said.
But or even in LinkedIn, I've seen some people who they basically removing their first name, and you're like, well, but again, this is professional network, and I understand that some people might want to be, silently in the background, and but then it's like, okay, that is your choice. You can absolutely do that. You can stay in the background, but then hopefully you will not have problems with, getting employed or enough work. I would always go through every single new social media, name, full name, references, cross, and a picture, just making sure that everybody knows, oh, this is the person. So, small thing to do, but it will help enormously on doing those connections.
And create a README for yourself.
And create a what?
A README.
README, yes, that's true. I have not done that in GitHub.
Homework this week.
Yes,
From
I have
the next
homework to do.
episode, we will go through your README. We'll verify that your README is in shape.
We'll go through how do you create a README in GitHub. Should we do that? I don't know.
Yes.
Definitely do this. Maybe not for this format, but we should definitely do this. Yes.
Sharing is
we should
caring.
actually do that. Yes, we should definitely do that. Now, I do apologize. I'm watching the clock. I had a warning heads up already for Luise and Waldek that I need to drop at this time. Quickly recap, what's happening this week or next week? Anything interesting on the table?
Customer workshops, Gen AI.
Customer workshops on what?
Gen AI.
And there we go. Excellent. Generative AI. It's
Generation AI. We have Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, Boomer, and now we have Generation AI.
Generation X, Generation Z, Generation AI.
Boomers. Now we have Generation AI.
You're alpha. So you're my kids, they are alpha, but this is just an AI now.
Yes, exactly. Kids who are born now, they're going to be Generation AI.
Yep. Waldek, what's on your table?
Yes. We talked about, so last days we figured out how we can make the Chrome developer tools work for Microsoft 365 proxy as a UI, and that is something super, super cool. So I cannot wait to get that out there for folks to test. So that'll be the one thing. And there's, other than that, working a lot around Microsoft Graph connectors, because these are set some really cool tech that we've got available, and I want to tell everybody about it.
We got to talk soon.
Yes.
Yes.
On my table, we have 1.18.1 release of SPFX, starting to prep a bit on ESPC sessions, and we need to start doing that and coordinating things. And then there's a lot of new stuff and features coming out on Viva Connection stuff. So we will start writing some docs and videos. And
we are heading towards Ignite. It's closer and closer, right?
Yes, Ignite as well. So that is true. That's true. And Christmas is coming, and then
New Year's Eve.
Cool. Thank you, Luise, for joining on this one. Really cool to catch up on this side of the things as well. I guess this is that's all for this interview. So thank you for joining. We'll be continuing with the weekly articles with Waldek from here.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Excellent. Thank you, Luise, on that one. One more time. So next, we'll jump to the weekly articles. By 2 weeks. What is it? If we
the recent articles.
Recent articles. Okay, that's just a good way of putting it. Okay, so let me actually jump. Let's flip the format a bit. So we'll get the articles visible. I will zoom a bit in here. So let's start with the Teams blog. So we had in the Teams side, there was a proactively monitoring a user meeting quality in Microsoft Teams Admin Center. So more and more will introduce administrative insights also on the productivity tooling, which is great. So that as an admin, you are up to date on how well things are moving, and you're able to understand, is everything okay? Is everything going as expected? So that's awesome. More transparency for the execution, which is pretty sweet. There was also an article on the Microsoft 365 blog on a fall 2023 update on Microsoft Visio for web. Not quite sure why it's only for web and not for desktop, but I haven't actually used Visio that much recently. I used to use it at some point, but then I moved completely to PowerPoint. PowerPoint is my chosen model. But what's actually kind of cool to know, if you are in Visio, we have now better set of toolings and icons, which are matching the updated branding of certain tooling, which is absolutely great, because when you're drawing pictures and all of that, you need this Kubernetes shapes, Kubernetes audit diagrams. So a lot of new icons coming in. That's actually really cool that we're adding more and more of those icons in, and templates and all of that. So, and Visio it's actually a really great tool. Good. On the Viva side, we had quite a lot of news. Actually, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, there was first of all this October 2023 update on the Microsoft Viva, which was collecting all of the different updates in the Microsoft Viva side, which is a lot to handle. Microsoft Viva is one of those things where it's really hard to kind of understand how many modules, what are the modules, what are they actually doing. We're getting that feedback and we're trying to address that for sure. But the cool thing about here is for sure the updated Viva connection experiences, which is really starting to look like a polished intranet experience. Of course, you can still use absolutely SharePoint, and this is powered by SharePoint, but you can choose also to use a SharePoint portal experiences. But this is also an option available for you as a the landing page of your company. So there will be nice hero news articles, announcements, and then the customizable dashboard with SPFX and all of that. So a lot of cool stuff there. Announcements coming in, dark mode coming in, analytics coming in, Viva Connection, new card types coming in as well. So you're able to create a different kind of card types. We'll talk about that one a bit later today as well. There's a out of the box cards available, and you can build custom cards, which is pretty sweet. And a lot of new capabilities and investments in here. Then there was actually in other Viva areas, Viva Engage had also updates as Viva Engage, aka Yammer. Well, it's much more than Yammer nowadays, but still. And then there was updates over there, new capabilities, and so they're not actually missing things. Network analytics, Viva Engage.
You are just only halfway the page.
Yeah, there's so many things.
Massive.
Yeah. Viva Goals has new stuff available as well. How things are working.
And that is just 1 month, right?
Yes, this is 1 month.
It's insane.
And Viva Amplify goes GA, which is really, really cool. And we also released the Viva Home, which is a suite level web page, basically on surfacing different capabilities. So a lot of stuff available here. Now, related on the Viva Amplify, which is for corporate communications, really targeting that corporate communication audience and a role. We also had a separate blog post that it's going GA. That team is pretty close actually to my organization, and they've been building this for quite a long time. So it's not really the changes only within 1 month, but it trickles down now as a to be announced at the October. And I'm going to show a lot of cool stuff in the upcoming Ignite as well. But basically, with Viva Amplify, you're able to target the multiple channels. You write once, and then you target multiple channels, and then your information is delivered to multiple channels from one location, which is pretty sweet. Starts looking awesome.
Nice.
And plus the statistics as well, which is super important. So as you're communicating, you will need to know, are people actually reading that or not? So is that communication going through? So really, really cool stuff. Now, on the Viva, we also introduced new AI-powered skills. And this is really for addressing the profile experiences as well. So basically making sure that you're able to manage the user profile attributes and view the peoples and skills inside of your organization. So a lot of investments in this area as well. I don't think we have yet deprecated or made official deprecation announcement on the classic SharePoint user profile, but we definitely want to have more than at least the views on the user data directly in Microsoft 365. So rather than that old clumsy thing, which we haven't really, that hasn't been evolved that much. So good. Now, on the developer side, do you want to actually cover a few of these?
Definitely. So we've got an update to the OData property changes or the OData properties of the Microsoft Graph Call Records API, right? So there are some things that we changed, and I'm not sure if that is, so we already announced in the past a breaking change, and now it's going to be effective. So definitely, if you work with these APIs, check it out to see if that affects you or not.
Yep, absolutely. This one's also interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Teams Toolkit keeps evolving, right? And this is yet another month, yet another set of updates, all geared towards helping you building apps for teams, right? And basically taking away a lot of the work that is kind of like around building the apps for teams, like packaging, deploying the app, and so on. Basically allowing you to focus on building the actual app code as opposed to everything around it. So definitely check it out because it's definitely worth the effort.
Yep, absolutely. That looks familiar, that sample. So might have been involved in some of those things as well. Now, Rabia Williams also had a new article related on Copilot and Microsoft Teams.
Exactly, right? So you've or might have already heard about messaging or the message extensions for Teams, right? Like they allow you to really easily find things directly from Teams and also act on them, right? Because there's also the part where you will get a form and you can act on things that are stored externally to Teams. The cool thing is that you might not know is that message extensions a message extension is also a Microsoft 365 Copilot plugin. So if you build it once, if you acquire those skills, you can now develop extensions for Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is great because that will allow you to let Copilot reason over all the data that you've got in your org as opposed to only the files you create on Microsoft 365. So definitely check this out because you will learn more how you can do more with your existing skills.
Yep, absolutely. There was also an interesting update on the Outlook side, and I love this one because we're getting more and more aligned across the Microsoft 365. And this is basically making sure that also Office add-ins are using the Teams app manifest. And this is not a one-time thing. So all of the Microsoft 365 application extensibility is gradually moving into using the Teams app manifest, which is a bit of a interesting when you think about it from a naming perspective. It's like they're doing what, but it's an Outlook Office add-in. Yeah, but maybe we don't want to confuse the audience, and maybe we should have actually come up with a new generic name for that. I don't know.
For Microsoft 365, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe that would make sense. I don't know.
Maybe that is the long-term plan. Maybe, you know, when we reach the critical mass, and we have, because it's this weird thing where if you only do one thing and you change the name, it's like that doesn't really justify the name. So maybe, and I don't know, like I don't know, but maybe that is kind of part of the play where when we reach the critical mass, maybe then we'll say, okay, now we are in a place where it makes sense to name it differently because it does more. So maybe that is kind of the goal there. I don't know, to be honest.
No confirmation.
Exactly, not sharing any NDA plans or any plans. Like I genuinely wonder.
Yes. Now, Patrick Roters had also an update related on retirement of all SharePoint file services version. Patrick is owning the API surface in ODSP, which is, by the way, huge and massive. It's just amazingly broad APIs. But key point here is that we are deprecating the certain REST endpoints where you're hitting directly the REST directly in SharePoint for the graph endpoint. So of course, Microsoft Graph should be the right API to use for many of this stuff, and that's where the investments are. So important thing. Now, in September, there was a Power Platform Global AI Hackathon, Hack Together, and this is a summary from Shavona and April on what happened and what was basically the sessions. And you can watch a lot of this stuff as a recording. They're all available for free to you to access. And then announcing the
actually,
winners.
by the time we're recording this, the winners have been announced via email already because they've been announced by last Friday, October the 20th. So if you are the lucky winner, congrats to you. And they would be publicly announced actually today as we're recording it. Exciting times.
That is
we're
true.
Just too early.
True. Yes, just too early on the day. Today, it's still like 4 p.m. in a Redmond time frame. Not sure when that's going to be shared.
AM.
So yeah, 4 a.m. Yes, indeed.
No, yeah.
AM, PM, we don't. Anand had a new blog post in the Microsoft 365 Power Platform community blog around chatbot component in Power Apps using Power Virtual Agents, and a good reference point again on how do we make things happen and how do we include capabilities, and really, really cool stuff and complicated. Well, not super complicated setup, but basically walking through visual presentation on how to make those things happen. Techuan had also a new blog post related to Microsoft List, how to increase the columns available for calendar view formatting. So how can I make that more flexible and adjusting things? That's actually really, really cool as well. So I can do more optimized experiences within the list presentation. So
cool.
Waldek, you had a blog post as well.
Yes, one of the few. And I was only allowed to pick one, so here it is. Basically, if you build apps on .NET, you will probably use Microsoft Graph SDK to more easily connect your app to Microsoft 365. As you go, though, you might need the ability to look into what actually requests and responses go over the line. So I present you a simple approach that you can use to extend the SDK, and with that, gain actual insights into the actual payloads that are going over the line in case something does not work as intended, because that will allow you to understand what's going over the wire and what are the things that might be wrong. So this is a really cool trick up your sleeve that you can use to basically debug things more efficiently.
Absolutely, that's really, really cool. Also, Chris O'Brien had about coolness. Cool. Chris O'Brien, cool, because Chris is cool. Now, Chris O'Brien had also really cool. Yes.
It's too early for this.
or you're getting too old. Now, cool blog post on building generative AI ChatGPT on your data solution, consideration, pitfalls, and lessons learned. And I know that Content and Cloud has been doing a lot of these kind of scenarios and solutions within the past 12 months. So he's sharing his learnings and what they built and considerations for your solution architecture. A lot of super valuable stuff related on AI and optimizations on that side. So cool article from the cool Chris O'Brien. Now talking about cool. No, just kidding.
Bring up the energy, right? Like, oh, talk about cool.
Yes.
But wait, there is more.
There is more. Wartaman had a new blog post related on chat with your user directory using OpenAI functions and Microsoft Graph. That's actually really cool as well. So the OpenAI functions give you the opportunity of basically feeding in the NLP, the natural language processor, your results from your APIs. So basically, then we're hitting the Microsoft Graph API, feeding information, sending that to the OpenAI for formatting. It will then respond back in a human understandable language. So it's actually really, really cool capability. And he's implemented a storyline related on this one. So who are the devs in Y? And then basically the function calling is calling back and saying, hey, you have the Graph API, which has this information. And
this would be so cool to have at Microsoft, where we have 200,000 colleagues. So like, hey, who's doing work on X?
True.
The only caveat there is that it's not in your user profile. It's just the work you do. So, being able to ask that, like, it will be interesting to see how we can infer that from all the data and insight that we have stored on Microsoft 365.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Anyway, Marcus Müller had two blog posts. I'm going to do them side by side. Creating Teams meeting, install Teams meeting app, and use custom data in Node.js. So that's actually a really, really typical scenario on the Teams extensibility. Thank you, Marcus, on writing so much and helping so many customers and partners to make this scenario. So, and again, a really detailed blog post explaining what happens, what are the code pieces, and how things are actually working behind the scenes. So thank you, Marcus, on that one. Super detailed work. And how it actually looks like. And Marco, that wasn't Marcus actually. I was wrong. No. I was checking the icons, but it's a WordPress icon. So Alex Burse had a blog post around introducing the Copilot cheese wheel. A what?
Basically a diagram that shows all the different Copilots that there are available on Microsoft Cloud, I guess.
Yep.
Because this is not only Microsoft 365, I suppose. This is across.
Yeah, that's GitHub and all of that. Yep, yeah. That's kind of trying to explain all of the different Copilots and AIs and chats and all of that stuff. Yeah, that's actually really cool. So cool.
And I guess there is even more of them, right? Because
there is even more of them. 155 was what was mentioned in the South Coast Summit. For now, I think it's more than that already because it evolves every single Friday.
You get Copilot.
I found it's a Copilot.
No, it's your dog.
Oh, it is my dog. Sorry. Now, changes on how to sideload and Outlook adding the manifest as of September 2023 from Cameron. So basically changes on the site loading. Site loading means that we are basically adding the component directly within the customer app tenant, not through the store, but site loading that in. And there are some changes on how that's being handled and how do you do that across the Microsoft 365 experience. That's actually really, really cool. Good. Alignment. The Message Center show from Daryl and Daniel had the latest version 306. Actually, they will publish 307 today, but 306, because we're recording this earlier today, will be around Microsoft Designer will make Teams announcement pop. Sounds like, wait, what? But it's actually, that's one of the announcements from last week. That what it means is that you are able to create dynamic pictures directly within the Microsoft Teams announcement box. I've tested that internally. It's pretty cool, and cool to say that it's externally rolling out as well. So you're able to basically generate text and images on fly for the announcement section, which is pretty cool. This is making life easier. Now you had a tweet.
Yes, actually, a whole thread. Over the last few days, we figured out something really cool, right? And the idea is that Microsoft 365 Proxy, which allows you to simulate behaviors and APIs, is a terminal app. So you run it in console. And the caveat with that is that when you test an app that does a lot of API calls, all of that gets logged to terminal, making it really hard for you to see like what's going where exactly.
Yep.
And we got requests. So currently we only log the messages, like we saw this call, we reacted to it, and the guidance. But we wanted to log more, like we wanted to actually show you the requests, the headers, the bodies, and so forth and so on. But there is just no room in terminal.
Yep.
We found out this cool way about it. It turns out that you can plug your own data into the DevTools in Chromium.
Yep.
So that becomes the UI for us. So basically, we can log
really
to
cool.
consult, or we can log to network. You can use the headers tab, the networks tab, consult tab. You can use the response tab to view the requests. So it's really, really cool because it frees us from building, maintaining a UI, and it gives you a tool that you already know because you use it already for your work, and you can use it with us. So this is really, really cool thing that we found out, like how we can use that to our needs. And we really hope that we will be able to make it available to you in preview over the next days for you to test and hear how you like this.
Yep, really, really cool. Looks awesome. Absolutely. Great finding for sure. Now, on the video side, April had a new video related on MPPC 23, as in the Power Platform Conference, October 2023 recap. So what was the announcements and what are the feelings and all of that. So April was on the conference presenting as well. So recapping all of that. On the PSS Tech Bites, Paolo had a new 5-minute video, 4-minute video actually, on new textbook-based card views in ACES. And this basically gives us the option of having much more flexibility related on those dashboard cards within a SharePoint and NVIDIA connection. So that's actually really, really cool as well. On the Shane blog, there was a Power Automate Copilot deep dive and the new UI. So walking through on that one, how does it actually work, and all of that. 31 minutes of these insights on how things are working. So thank you, Shane, on that one. Awesome stuff. And then the last one was the Sympraxis Consulting. Sympraxis actually has a really nice series where the Sympraxis people are having a discussion and explaining scenarios, and they always change the theme. I think it's a bi-weekly series or weekly series, and then they change the theme and the focus areas on what's being covered. This time the focus was on new Teams features, so what's available there. By far, my favorite is the meeting recap. That's amazing. One day. Cool. On the sample side, a lot of new samples since the last time we recorded. So I think quickly calculating, we have 15 new samples again on here.
Wow.
Waldek has done a lot of work on the
graph connectors.
Graph connectors, and then additional samples on the script side, list formatting, content retail dashboard that looks pretty familiar, related on the one article what we actually talked about earlier today. And there's multiple other improvements here. We'll list all of this in the blog post summary. But that's it for the articles and things. I will stop, and I will not stop. I will do here. So let's actually close up this recording. Thank you, Luise, one more time for joining for a discussion. Awesome work by the Microsoft and article writers and the community article writers. So much stuff happening. It's hard to keep up. Hopefully you find this show interesting and it helps you to stay up to date on what's happening. All good?
Totally.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back within a week. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.